Right, so this is the latest external HDR monitor recorder from Atomos. Now this is the stripped down version of their Shogun Inferno. Now you're probably asking yourselves, what's the two differences on the models? Now, if you have the Ninja Inferno, you're missing out on features such as raw recording, 2K slow motion, gen lock and timecode, and SDI connections. As a result, you get the Ninja Inferno, which currently when doing this review is £1,000 cheaper. Now, if you're unsure which model to get, have a look at your camera. Now, I have the Panasonic GH5, and getting the Shogun Inferno would be a waste of money, as I cannot film 2K and I don't have any SDI connections. This monitor still packs some amazing features, however, such as 4K recording up to 60 frames per second, and it's capable of recording 10-bit 422, which gives you more flexibility in post. Now, it has a 7-inch HDR screen, which is 1920 by 1200, and a 1500 nit display, which is perfect for outside viewing. The Ninja Inferno connects to your camera via the HDMI port. And for anyone wondering how the Ninja Inferno works, it basically works by taking the image your sensor captures and it records it to the external SSD in your desired format, which is ProRes or Avid DNX. Now this for me works better than my camera saving on an internal SD card as it compresses it. It is perfect for having more flexibility in post. However, the downfall is the file sizes. It is also worth pointing out that this device is not just aimed at filmmakers. If you're a gamer and you wish to record your gameplay, then this is perfect for you as you can use this device for this. Now the build quality on this little guy has really impressed me. In your hands it feels really tough and strong yet fairly lightweight. The Atomos Ninja Inferno is constructed out of an ABS polycarbonate material with extra built-in armour to protect the inner components. Now all four corners have rubber protection, which will help shield it against any accidents you may have with it. And you know what, I have dropped this monitor a lot of times in the short amount of time that I've had it for, and I have had no issues with it whatsoever. I've dropped it on concrete, carpet and even laminate, and I've never even had a scratch. Now the build quality is amazing and very durable, but is there any bad things? Unfortunately, yes there is. The Atomos Ninja Inferno is fairly loud when it is on. Here is an example of what it sounds like. And I'm actually very shocked with how hot the air vent gets that lets out the heat. I did initially think that it was a one-off faulty product, but this is my second Ninja Inferno and it does the same thing. I've not run into any overheating issues, but over time, could this be a problem which will force us to shut down due to overheating? As I previously mentioned, the Ninja Inferno is missing SDI inputs. On the left hand side of the monitor you have HDMI connections and a remote input. So to record on your Inferno, connect the HDMI into the HDMI input. And you also have HDMI out, which you can project the screen onto a bigger screen if you're using this as a director's monitor. The remote connection is for a wireless remote, which is an additional component that you'd need to buy if you wish to make use of this feature. On the other side you have the power on and off button and a headphone slot along with the XLR inputs used for recording the audio. On the back of the device you have an SSD compartment, a DC power port which is used for powering the system via the mains, and you also have two battery slots. Now these two battery slots are hot swappable, which basically means you can pull one of them out while the device is on. For me, the batteries do not last long enough. On a full charge I get around 30 to 45 minutes of battery time. I'd recommend you need 4 to 6 batteries for a proper video shoot, depending on what you're doing. Now these batteries are not cheap, they currently retail for £160 for a set. Okay, so this is just a quick overview of the menus on the Atomos Ninja Inferno. So if we click here, it shows a source, so we're filming in 4K, and if I want to change if I want to film in 1080p for example, I'll have to do that by going on to my Panasonic GH5 settings. You can't change the source via this menu, you'll have to do that on your camera. You have HDMI 2.0 or HDMI 1.4, mine's 2.0. Triggers for the wireless remote, and here it gives you just showing you what your settings are. So if you go into the time-lapse tab, now if you click on, what you'll do is you'll notice there's a white ring now that's gone around the record button. That's to indicate time-lapse is on. And then if we go back and click back, the output here, it shows us, because I haven't got an HDMI output connected, there's no source that it's going to, so it just shows you that. If you click back input, file naming, so the file name you can access via this tab here, or you can access it here. Now, this is quite useful. Say you have got multiple cameras that you're shooting on, and you can change the name of the SSD, and you can particularly set it to scene 11, shot, let's say 10. And here, if you click where ProRes is, this is the recording format. So you got Avid ProRes HQ and Avid DNX, and on ProRes you can change it to be HQ 422 or LT, and this SSD that I have in here currently is I believe it's a SanDisk 480 gigabyte one. So it shows me if I was to film in 4K on ProRes HQ, I have 54 minutes and 35 seconds of record time. If I change it to be LT, it shows me I've got 1 hour 59 minutes and 24 seconds. If you went on to Avid DNX, just so you're aware that if you decide to film in this, you will need to register your product, and when you register the product, you have to activate the Avid DNX, and they give you a code on their website. Here it shows you the media, so it's got a 480 gigabyte SanDisk. Ultra 2 format media. I recommend formatting the media every time you're going to use it. When you first put in an SSD, you will need to format it for it to pick it up. You can rename the device, so what you want to call it, and you can export the XML, which will save a file onto the SSD. If you click here on the batteries, it shows you the power of the batteries. Now my two batteries are pretty much flat, so I'm powering this on through the DC power cable. Here it has the audio waveform, so it shows us the audio that we're recording, and under the options menu you can change the gain, the audio in, what kind of mic, if you want it to become phantom powered, if you want an audio delay, and yeah. And here, if you've got a headphone jack, you can alter how the volume of it. And here, if you click record, that's how we record on the Inferno. But I have time lapse on, which I don't want on. So let me just quickly switch that off. Time lapse is off. So if we click record here, it sort of shows the red bar there, shows it's recording, and that's the time code. If you wanted to reset the time code yourself manually, you just click reset, and by default it's set to that. So there we go. Play, it allows you to play over some previously recorded stuff on the SSD. So this is how you can view some of your old stuff. So there we go, it's just playing that. And also, say we wanted to click a certain one, it shows us here on the playback, you shot this one in 4K, 20 the frame rates and how long it was on for. So let's just click that, and yes, this is a promotion video that we're shooting for a company. And now let's go back to record. This will jump back into the main menu. So if we go over to these four bottom menus here, if we click here, this is the waveform monitoring. Now here, if you click this here, this gives you the Luma Parade. This is the RGB Parade. This is the vector scope and vector scope zoom. Now what you can do is, if I'm having RGB on, I can have it to be either in the bottom, in the middle, or bottom left, and I can change the transparency of it and the brightness of it. On the monitor assist menu, you have focus assist. So focus assist, you can change it to any color you sort of want, and it will show you what's in focus and what's not. Zebra peaking, it will show you the overexposed shots. False color, which is great. Blue exposure only. I don't really use that, if I'm honest with you. And this here, you can sort of change it to, if you want to be shooting a 16:9, 240, 235, 1:9, 185, 4:3, or you can have it off. This here will just give you help you framing your stuff, your shot, sorry. And this is if you say you're filming in anamorphic mode. And yeah, so the zebra threshold you can change here, and if you want to zoom in, it will zoom in, and you can sort of know if it's fully in shot or not. If we go over to the cut and tag, and this is quite useful. Can't say I use it much, but This will basically help you on the edit. So when you're watching over your clip and you just do a take, you're like, yeah, that's good. So let's mark that as favorite, and you export the XML and it will export the keyword. So you can do it for what's a good shot, what's a bad shot, showcase some particular actors that you may have, if it was overexposed, if the audio is bad, if it's what kind of shot it is, if it's a close-up, wide shot or cutaway, or mentioning the color. And if we go over to the monitor mode, here we can change the kind of screen style we want. So mine's set to Rec 709. We can have Atom HDR, and here we can set the kind of camera we're using. We can change the brightness, so if we want it to be how it would look with full HDR, or if you don't want it with any HDR on. So it's good for knowing how your image might look in post. And here then we can sort of change if we want HDR when it on, the kind of gamma out we want, and the screen kind of style. So be DCI, BT, log to video, which is another image profile, or custom look. So you can install your own custom looks. I haven't got any installed. I use Rec 709. So when I bought this, I was super excited at the fact that I got my hands on an Atomos monitor. When it arrived, I was so let down. I only had the monitor and the DC power cable, which I later learned the flight case and the accessories you need to buy on top, which is just over £300. You would then need SSDs, and depending on the quality you shoot and what you're shooting, you'll need a lot of SSDs, and then storage for it when you're editing. And if you're like me, someone who's never owned an Atomos monitor and recorder, getting one isn't cheap. Even though it's advertised for £1,050, it actually set me back £1,700 with all the add-ons. Atomos sell this as a director's monitor. If you wish to use the full capabilities of this, which is as a recorder, then you need to dig a little deeper in your pockets. Also, depending on what kind of shooter you are, batteries is a huge problem. I only prefer using official batteries, and each battery is around £90 for an official one. Or you can get a power kit for £160, which has a mains charger and 2 batteries. You can do that, but you'll end up with a lot of chargers, which you could probably end up selling on anyway. It is also worth mentioning, if you buy this, what kind of camera have you got? If you got a DSLR that can't even shoot 4K and you want it as a monitor only, I do not think it is worth buying, as you can buy, say, a Lilliput, which are some good monitors, and they are fairly cheap. But if you do have a camera that shoots 4K, it's worth looking into the features it has. For example, if you have the Sony FS7, I would recommend getting an Odyssey 7Q or the Atomos Inferno. I also recommend buying a Magic Arm, as I find mounting it above the camera it is not sturdy, and the weight balance is not even, and I ran into some issues of some panning shots not being very smooth. Also, another important factor I'd say is, do you have a powerful enough machine that can edit in 4K files shot in ProRes? If not, this could be an extra cost you'll endure. So my verdict. Would I recommend you buying one? Yes, even though there are negatives such as the full price you'd need to pay to own one of these, it's worth noting there are some other external monitors only, which cost the same amount. I feel it's money earned back. Yes, the fan noise is something I find which is a big problem, as in post it could lead to more work with the added in background room noise you need to remove. But this is something I am yet to test out, and I'll make an update if the fan noise affects the audio you're capturing. But for how it can make your footage be enhanced, it's a very good buy. And let's not forget, it's a recorder that has an amazing screen that is HDR ready, so you can see what your shots look with the colour correction.